have you ever wanted to blind your teammates with the unmatched power of the sun? If so, here's exactly what to type in chat. But the fun doesn't stop there. There's a large amount of other chat effects that you can do with similar HTML syntaxes. With that said, let's look a little bit into what we can do in R.E.P.O's game chat. All of the following commands must be enclosed in a less than and greater than symbol. First up, we have size equals. When typing size equals followed by a number, you can increase or decrease the size of your in-game text. These numbers also go into the negatives, where they scale upside down. There's an extremely large size limit, but text almost stops being visible on the screen at around the 500 mark. What you see on the screen right now is a text size of 300. It almost completely covers the screen, especially in dead chat. Next is mark equals. If you type mark equals followed by a hex color, you can highlight the text in the selected color. If you don't type any color and just enter mark, it will default to a yellow highlight. This mark syntax is used in making the flashbang text, as it makes the text completely highlighted in white. Rapid firing a few, we have color equals. You can type in color equals and just enter a name of a color that it will then recolor your entire message to. This doesn't work for hex colors. We also have B for bold, which is pretty self-explanatory. The bold text isn't that much different from the default, but it still has a small effect. Then there's I for italic, also pretty self-explanatory. The italicization is pretty noticeable on this one and can be used for a little bit of role-playing if you're into that, I guess. After that, we have sup for superscript and sub for subscript. If you don't know what either of these are, subscript is essentially text that falls below the lines, while superscript is text that raises above the lines. It does shrink the size of the text as well, but you can counter this by increasing the size with another syntax. Notably, you can stack sub and superscripts on top of each other, meaning that you can chain a bunch of subscripts for a message that lowers significantly. Next is S for strike through. Strike through is also something you've probably heard of, as it just draws a line through the center of the text as a way to cross it out. Another interesting one is BR, or break, aka single line break. What this does is it breaks your message into another line as if you hit shift and enter. You can use this to write a bunch of words on top of each other and spell out a full message, when the game should instead have the words appear one by one. There's also a sprite equals. Following this with a number of 0 through 15, it will give you an emoji. You can also use a bunch of the other syntaxes on top of these emojis to mess around with them. This one's pretty unique since the game doesn't let you copy-paste emojis into text chat. Speaking of copy-paste, you may notice that the game doesn't let you copy-paste at all. There's an alternative to this though, as is shared with many other games. If you use the up arrow on your keyboard, you can return to the last message you sent, or even scroll through all of the previous messages you sent. Pretty neat. Alright, last thing we have is rotate equals. If you follow rotate with any number, it will rotate the message in degrees by what was entered. This actually doesn't rotate the entire thing by the degrees, but instead rotates each individual letter and entry by that amount, which is definitely odd to look at. And there is one last syntax I didn't cover only because I haven't found any use for it yet. If you type font equals, there might actually be a way to change the font, but the only entry I have found that works is default. Anything besides that doesn't seem to work. Since that's all the working syntaxes I found, here are a couple of combinations I found while messing around. You've got the flashbang, of course, which just blinds everybody that gets near you. You can change the hex color of this as well to bring them into darkness like a domain expansion. You can also use this in dead chat to just prevent anyone else who is dead from seeing the gameplay. Photosensitivity warning, you can actually spam this with the up arrow and it'll give you visibility for a second, and it's just blinding. It hurts to look at.
Hello.
Next, you've got the pillar of light. If you enter this, your teammates can actually use you like a marker and see you through walls pretty well. On your end, you'll just see a line down the center of your screen. You've got the cover the start button. In the beginning screen of the game, you can enter this and all of the buttons at the bottom are completely covered except for their outlines when you hover over them. It's pretty funny and might get some people to accidentally misclick. There's also the I love you. Just a big freaking heart eyes emoji to show your appreciation to your squad. Then you've got the League of Legends missing ping. Sprite 12 for some reason is just a large question mark, and I like to imagine that you could get some comedic moments out of this word emoji. That's basically all there is to this whole thing. If you found this helpful, pretty please hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, you might have noticed that I've been gone for quite some time, and I promise I have an excuse. If you're curious, I give the reason why in the description. If you find any working syntaxes that I didn't list, I would be extremely grateful if you listed them in a comment somewhere. I haven't bothered looking through all the HTML syntaxes since I don't code in that language, but I'm sure someone who knows the language is out there watching this. Thanks for sticking around, hope you enjoyed. Right as the video releases, I'll actually be live on Twitch doing a R.E.P.O stream with some friends, so come down and say hi.